Hello Internet! Today I'm taking a look at the Canonet QL17 rangefinder camera. Now, the first generation of the Canonet QL17 cameras were made all the way back in the mid-60s, and they were quite a bit larger than this one, and up in the late 60s, early 70s they first launched an earlier model of this camera, basically with the same look but without the battery check button. And then in 72 they launched this third generation of the QL17 cameras. Now, besides adding a battery check button, they also claimed that this one was made from better materials inside. Now, they probably said this because the first Canonet QL17 was made in Japan, and then they changed over to having a lot of them made in Taiwan. People were concerned about the quality of the products coming out of Taiwan, so they launched this third generation QL17 to state that this is a quality product. Now, some of these cameras were also made in Japan, and the one I've got here, as you can see, is made in Japan as well. Those are a bit more rare than the made in Taiwan cameras, but supposedly they are of a bit better quality. Now, the one I've got here is a black edition, and those are a bit more rare than the original silver edition, and thus they are also a bit more expensive. So if you want a QL17, expect the black ones to be somewhat more pricey. Now, the QL17 is quite famous for being one of the better, smaller, compact rangefinder cameras with a great build quality and all the manual controls that you need. But let me start by taking you through the different parts of the camera. In the front of the camera we've got the 40mm f1.7 lens. Now, this is a quite sharp lens, perhaps not as sharp as the Konica Auto S2 that I've reviewed earlier, but still a quite sharp lens. On the top of the lens we find the CDS, a photocell diode used for metering. Now, as I mentioned, the QL17 is one of the better compact rangefinder cameras, and part of the reason is because you've got all the manual controls as well. All of these controls are mounted on the lens. On top we find the shutter speed, and next we find the ISO speed, which you can change with a small lever on the back. And then we've got the aperturing. It's a smooth aperturing with a shutter priority setting and some flash guide numbers. We also find the focusing ring, which is connected to the focusing lever on the opposite side. The focusing lever is easily controlled by 2 fingers, and it's got a very short traveling distance, so you can quickly select your focus. On the bottom of the camera we find the usual release button, a tripod mount, and the battery door. The QL17 originally used the infamous and now outlawed PX625 mercury batteries. There are replacement batteries available, and I prefer using silver oxide batteries, but air cell batteries are also a great option. On the back of the camera we find the battery check button and indicator. We find the viewfinder. We also find a clever film advance window, which tells you if you've advanced the film correctly. And we find a small window that indicates whether your shutter is cocked. Now, on the side here we find the PC Sync cable connector. On the top of the camera we find the film advance lever, the shutter button, the shutter counter window, a hot shoe mount, and the film rewind knob, which also opens the film door. The shutter is a copal leaf shutter located inside the lens. Now, the QL and the QL17 name stands for quick loading, and this is the quick loading mechanism. To load a film, you simply place the film inside the camera and put your film lead all the way over to this line down here. And then you close the camera like this and advance 4 times. And now your camera is ready to shoot. So why is this such a popular camera, and what is it that you get in this small package? Well, it's a quite solidly built camera, and it's not very big. Here's a size comparison with an ordinary SLR. And also it's quite a lot lighter than most SLR cameras, although not as light as some compact cameras. But the weight of the camera and the overall build quality really makes it feel like a very solid camera. So this camera is really about having everything in a small package. You've got your automatic shutter priority settings when you need those, and you've got your full manual controls when you need those. You've got a fast lens, you've got a built-in light meter with ISO settings up to 800 ISO, you've got a rangefinder focusing system. So all in all, a high quality camera with all the settings you need in a small package, so you can carry it around all day. And yes, perhaps the settings are a bit fiddly and not as easy to control as on an SLR camera, but at least you've got the option if you need it. Those are my views on the Canonet QL17 rangefinder camera. My name is Søren, thank you for watching.